So essential elements of good corporate governance. So these are the important points that has to be there in the company to call it as a good corporate governance. So how do we recognize that it is a good corporate governance or a good company? It is when you have all these points in the company, that's when you call it as a good corporate governance. Okay. So then, role of the board, how board of directors is trying to maintain or run the company, how they are having bonding with the employees, how they're having bonding with the shareholders and other stakeholders who are responsible. So all that defines the good corporate governance. Then we have legislation. Legislation is the rules that is given by the government. What from the Constitution of India, if you see, there is legislation. If the court orders something, or if there is a way to do the work, we have to follow that particular way to complete the work. So that is the sign of a good corporate governance. And then management environment. So if the management is able to give a good environment for the employees to work, and if they have professional people working in their company, then the good corporate governance will help the company to grow better and to a far place. Okay, which means to the next level they'll be able to grow. Then board skills. Now board of directors require expertise people. It's not the old people or somebody who is able to do only few things. Fine. So board of directors has to be expertised people. Now these expertised people can have expert in technical or operational expertise. They can be able to understand how the manufacturing goes on for a particular product, or how the company has to be run in a difficult situation. Okay. And they can also have financial skills where they know how much money is to be invested at which point of time. And legal skills, they'll have there can be a legal expert in the board of directors who will say us, if we do this we might face this scenario. So we also know the result while we are doing the work. We also know the result, so we will be able to do the work in a better way. So that is legal skills. Then knowledge of governance. Now how the governance has to go on, apart from all the technical operational expertise or financial skills, or the advocacy skills that they have, they also need to understand how to manage the company. Okay, if they only have skills of finance or technical but they don't know how to run the company, it is difficult. So board of directors are selected in such a way that they know the subject as well as they know how to manage the company. So these two are two separate skills. It's not that easy to manage the company by single person or a team of people also. So that knowledge of governance, the training is required. Then board appointments. Now whoever board appoints as the company secretary, advocates, chartered accountants, other directors, okay, other audit committee people, so they are required to make the appointments of a professional people. Now professional people is not only people with the subject knowledge, but then again they have to know how the work has to be taken care of completely. Okay, so that is board appointments. Then board induction and training. Now companies at every level are required to have trainings, and they'll have to revisit their employees if they are good enough to be still working in the organization or not. Okay, we cannot leave the employees as however they want to work. Okay, so we have to keep reviewing the employees, because the productivity will come down if we don't review the employees. So that is board induction and training. Then board independence. So how much or to what level can we independently give the board the work. So, or how much decision making can be done by board? Because if you see, you'll have shareholders who will have to take care of things every now and then, and how the work is to be completed within time, procedures has to be taken care of, there'll be so much of work to do. So how much is the complete company dependent on the board? Okay, and how much board of directors can make the decisions on their own? So that will be board independence. Then board meetings, we already have learned enough about companies meetings, general annual general meetings, board meetings. Okay, board of directors should keep meeting every 3 months, or at least after a gap of 120 days. It is compulsory for them to meet, to discuss about what is happening in the company, what should be taken care later. Okay, every single aspect has to be discussed by the directors before doing it. And if in case anywhere, if they require shareholders permission, they have to attain shareholders permission and then do the work. So that will be board meetings. Then code of conduct, rules and regulations given by the company to their employees, uh, to the company, which it puts by itself to be followed. Something like your AOA. Now AOA has all the rules and regulations, all the points where the company has to follow the rules. So that is code of conduct. Then strategy setting, now this is a personalized way the company will sit and do their strategy. It is something like this. Now say suppose there are kingdoms. Before we used to have kingdoms, no? Okay, so one raja, chola, aras, Mysore kingdom. Okay, Pallavas, like that. There will be, let's say there are kingdoms. Now if, let's say this is kingdom A, B, C, D, E. Fine. Now if E and B, these two are kingdoms which are having war. Okay, they are waging a war against each other. Now what should be the strategy that E should follow so that they can get down B, and what should be the strategy that B should follow so they can get down E? So strategies will be taken care differently by each kingdom. Yes, so this kingdom will have a king, he will have his ministers, he will have his soldiers, right? Here also there will be a king, there will be ministers, there will be soldiers, and all the people required. Okay, they'll have that ministers, that mantri who will try to give him lot of advisors on what is to be done, how it is to be done, and all that, right? So that is the scenario. Now compare the scenario to the company. Now let us say all of these companies, A, B, C, D, E, all of these are companies. Now there is a competition between E and B. E and B both are selling same type of product. Now what is the strategy of selling should be there? Now in kingdoms, they used to wage a war on the opposite kingdom, right? Now the war cannot be waged on the opposite kingdom, but they have to improve their products or improve their services. That is how they wage a war against the other people. This is 21st century. You don't take weapons and go and do the war. Okay, you use nuclear weapons, or you use information technology or social media to wage a war. I hope you are able to understand. So strategy, how do you set the strategy to get the opposite person down? So that is also, and it has to be healthy. You should not get into fraud techniques, or which is unfair means, unethical means. Such things should not be done. Then business and community obligation. So business obligations will be there. Certain things will be against the business ethics. Those things cannot be followed continuously. That is not a good way. Then how they'll be able to reduce their cost, improve their profit in a fair way, that is there. And you have to give your products or services at the low possible cost to the people. So that will be community obligation, right? Then financial and operational obligations. Again, money is involved. There will be a lot of things that has to be taken care of. Okay, so financial obligations, what is the loan that is taken, when to pay the loan, for which product, how much money we have to spend, right? So that is financial and operational obligation. Then monitoring the board's performance. Now there are certain uh, separate companies or boards who will monitor the performance of the board of directors. Now in a company, shareholders can monitor the performance. They can hire professionals and they can ask to check if the board of directors are really working for the company or they are working to make their own assets and properties. So that will be monitoring of board's performance. Then audit committees. Now audit committee is compulsory in the companies, and it's a very good way to have audit committee, because they will be very strict in checking each and every procedure, each and every work that has been done, and how we are supposed to take care of things. They will also guide us. So that is another important thing that has to be understood in the corporate governance essentials. And risk management. Now risk management, if it is done in a proper way, if the e company or if the e kingdom is able to take 70% risk, it has to take only 70% risk. Okay, if it takes too much of risk, then all the soldiers and every other people will be dying. So simply people will die in the war. Similarly, if you take a company, the people will be affected. So the risk management has to be done. The company should not be closed down because of the too much risk that is being taken by the company. How much ever risk is possible, only to that extent they have to take the risk and do the work. So these are the essentials of the corporate governance, or these are the major points that has to be kept in mind to understand what is corporate governance. Then characteristics of a good corporate governance. Now let us see what all will be there under good corporate governance characteristics. So there are 8 major characteristics. This can be an important question. Okay, please mark this. They can ask this question for 14 marks also. So firstly, it has to be participatory. You should give a chance to people to participate in the company. We are not saying everyone should be participating, but then whoever is required to make a decision, or when you require a third party view. Now say suppose you are painting, you're doing a painting, or you are painting a picture. Now once you paint a picture, you would show it to a person and you would ask them, is this good? Is the painting looking good? Or is the colors good? Is it dull? You will get a third person, a third party feedback, so that you will know that is the painting good or not, or are you just doing it for your own sake. So when you allow the participants to work, or allow the participants to give you the feedback, then you'll be able to analyze where the company is and how the company will be able to uh, grow better, or in what way can you utilize new ways to grow the company. So that is participation. So your, if it's a good corporate governance, they should allow both or all of them to participate whenever required. That is important. Whenever required is important. Then after that, rule of law. So good corporate governance requires fair legal frameworks. So without any partiality, everybody should be made to follow the law, and how the laws will be uh, you know giving the result on the people. So that will be considered under good corporate governance. Then transparency. Whatever decision is made in the company, if it has to be informed to the other directors, shareholders, and other people or the management, that has to be informed. Now by not informing the people, it can lead to a bigger mess later. So that is transparency, which is again a part of corporate governance. Okay, now after transparency we have responsiveness. So in when we do a annual general meeting, we'll have to inform the shareholders about how the company is gonna make profit, or how the company is uh, doing its work. If it is good, bad, it is fair, they can improve much better. So there should be transparency in all the information that is being given to the stakeholders, or sorry, shareholders. So that will give them more confidence on the people, and that will also help them to trust the companies more. So the corporate governance can work in a better way. So that is the next point. And then consensus oriented. Now here many viewpoints are given by the society. Now society, one will say the company has to get more profit, one will say the company has to concentrate on CSR work. So like that many will give many feedback, but then what is to be taken by the company? Okay, what has to be kept in mind by the company to make sure that everybody's interests are taken care of? Now at a home, if you ask for one dish, your sister or brother asks for another breakfast, your father will ask for another breakfast. Okay, like that, if each of you ask for different things, your mother has to get some time, right? She requires some time to prepare all of the or the breakfast which is favorite to everyone. So like that, in consensus oriented, they are trying to work in the best interest of the society rather than favoring anyone. Okay, if you if your mother prepares what is favorite for your father, you may not like it. If she prepares what is your favorite breakfast, your father and sister or brother might not like it. So she will prepare a breakfast which all of you like it and which all of you will have. So similarly, companies also will work in the best of the whole community and not with the best of only one person. So that is consensus oriented. Excuse me. Next, equity and inclusiveness. Now here, since a company is a family, the shareholders are part of company, they are also like family altogether. Okay, so society is also part of company there. Company is part of society, society is part of company, it's something like that. So every group is important. Their sensitive feelings have been kept in mind, and their favorites have been kept in mind while manufacturing the product. So all of that has to be taken care of, and that will be the one of the characteristic of a corporate governance. So you have to give equal chance to everyone, and you have to try to include every person. Then effectiveness and efficiency, this is what is expected by every employee in the organization. Every employee is expected to use the resources to optimum and give the result to the maximum. So that is what is expected by every employee. Then accountability. Accountability is the key requirement of corporate governance. Government institutions, private institutions, civil society, everything should be accountable to the public, because public would have put money into the company. Public is interested to know what is happening around it. So public is interested to know what is happening in the next house also. Okay, so accountability in the company plays a major role. What you are accountable for, when you are doing work, you are accountable for it work. Take responsibility for the decisions and actions. So that is known as accountability. So these 8 points are the important characteristics of a good governance, where you have accountability, transparency, responsiveness, equitable and inclusive, consensus oriented, participatory, follows the law, and effective and efficient. Okay, So are you all able to follow before we get into the need? Okay, good. Now next is need of corporate governance. Now here need has arisen for corporate governance because many people were doing fraud by opening the companies. They were not able to give the best results for the companies. Fine. So such because the company the society faced such different scenarios, that is why they came up with this corporate governance concept, and they told, see, this is how you run the company. Now running of the company was done differently by each and every one, and that is how they do it even now. Okay, each of them will have their own way of running the business, and that way of running the business should be in a fair way. Now, when I say fair way, how will people get to know if it's a fair way or not? Now, when I say it is a good dish, or it's a good dinner, or it's a good lunch, what is the definition of good? Am I saying it should be tasty, or am I saying it should be hygienic, or am I saying it should be my favorite? So there is no clarity on that. So that is why government and many institutions which are responsible for corporate governance, or which are concerned about corporate governance, which were interested in the corporate governance, they came up with many committees. Especially SEBI came up with committees known as Kumaramangalam Birla Committee, Naresh Chandra Committee, Narayana Murthy Committee. They came up with these committees so that these people, Kumaramangalam Birla is the founder of Birla Company. So these people under the expert team was able to observe few things in the company, and they came out with new laws for corporate governance. So in 2002, mostly in 2000 and 2002, that is when all of these rules came out, and that is when companies also became even more serious, and slowly the number of frauds, or the fraud company or the fake company, started reducing. So that is why corporate governance is required. So every company's interest, every purchaser or customers interest, money, effort, time, everything is being saved. Okay, so that is the need of corporate governance. Then importance of corporate governance. Now in importance, we are trying to understand why the corporate governance is so important. We have learned all of this before, but then let us in particular learn about the importance. So first point is, investors and shareholders of a corporate company need protection for their investment due to lack of adequate of financial reporting and accountability. Before, you did not have accounting standards. There were no too much of auditing standards which was being followed, not too many strict rules. So people used to utilize money for their own usage also. Many would not know, right? So investors trust, or shareholders will trust the company, and the money will be invested into it. So financial reporting standards and the accountability and profitability of it has to be given to the shareholders back. The money which you invest into the company is expected to be grown and to be given back. So in those cases, corporate governance plays a major role. That is the much importance. So bad governance was also exemplified by allotment of promoters, and in many places when they are not able to take care of the company, they were given much professional help. They told, see, we will help you, make sure your company is working at its best. Do not leave out your company which is working at its best. Okay, so that is the first importance. Then corporate governance is considered as an important means of paying heed to investors. Now this is a point under Kumaramangalam investors grievance. Okay, Kumaramangalam Birla Committee found that companies were not paying attention to the problems of the investors. Now suppose you have invested money in a company and that company is not paying you dividend at all. Now, with the investment that you have made, the company is supposed to give you dividends. Now, that is the return on your investment. When they are not able to give the return on your investment, then it is a problematic matter. You will be concerned. I have put so much money. What will happen? Right? So, corporate governance has to take care. They have to keep in mind what are the problems that the investors are facing. We have to make it easy for every person to invest. Okay, once they get the habit of investing, then there is a good chance of people getting a good amount of money for their business. Okay, the cash flow keeps rotating. Then the importance of good corporate governance lies in the fact that it will enable the corporate firms to attract capital and perform efficiently. So for everything, the main reason is money. So if you have money in the company, if you have enough investments in the company, that means you will be able to gather enough capital and do the work in a best possible way. So to get that money, what you should do? You should gain the confidence of the investors. Now, once you gain the confidence of the investors, you will be willing to invest, take risk, and give much better results. So your efficiency will also increase. So before 1991, India was not allowing any other companies from outside India to come inside India. Okay, so there was no foreign investments, there was no foreign companies, only domestic companies were working. Now after 1991, there was this LPG which happened. LPG is liberalization, privatization, globalization. Now, once the globalization happened, all the companies got better place to do their work. They got more opportunities. The market became more wider because now government, other country companies can come into India. Indian companies can go to other company. So the market became wider and it attracted, India attracted a lot of investments in the form of FII and FDI. Now, what is this FII? Foreign institutional investors. Foreign institutions directly came and they invested in our companies, and foreign companies started their branches here. So those are FIIs and FDIs. Okay, so but there was one rule that the India always had, was that if you want to open a company in India, you are supposed to have a joint venture with Indian company. Okay, you're supposed to have a joint venture with the Indian company. So that is why you have Bharti Airtel. Okay, now I think they have changed it. Then Vodafone has taken over, Idea, Hutch, they took over all that. And then Tata Docomo, which is now not there and which is being clubbed with Airtel. Okay, Tata Docomo. Tata is an Indian company. Docomo is a Japanese company. Maruti Suzuki, Hero Honda. So they made a joint venture with the Indian companies so that they'll understand how to work in India. So that is the next point, global perspective. So now the platform became bigger. The platform is much wider for people to work in the company or work in the society. Excuse me. So now attracting the foreign investors is the big task that has to be taken care of. Then indispensable for healthy and vibrant stock market. Now stock market has gone through a lot. Okay, the stock market has gone down completely, it's gone up, it's gone too much up, which is not a good sign. If it goes too much low also, it is not a good sign. So healthy stock market where the companies are able to gain better on every day. Okay, not every company will have too much of reverse numbers. So that is a vibrant stock market. So if you have a strong corporate governance, if you have good demand for the company, good demand for the products, then the stock market will also reflect how the companies are working. Okay, and majorly no insider trading. Insider trading is when a company is able to give out company secrets. Okay, if it's able to give out company secrets and they're trying to get some money, that is insider trading. Okay, now why do they give company secrets? Those are the information which outside people will not know, right? And they'll be using this information to trade in shares. So that is the insider trading, and that insider trading is a fraud that should not be done. Especially the key managerial persons or the higher level people should not get into this fraud. Okay, that's a big no from the corporate governance side. Then so that is the conclusion. To conclude with, corporate governance has to be more effective. So we understood what are the important or what is the importance of having a corporate governance. A good corporate governance will help us to have good investors, shareholders. It will help to have a strong capital market or the stock market. It will help us to analyze the investors grievances, improve the efficiency of the company, get enough capital, create a global platform for the companies to work on the global level. And then with the good stock market, we'll be able to invest money and get good money for us. Okay, so that were the part of the importance. Then there are certain worst scandals of all time which is there, which you can go through these. So there is the details about all of the scandals that had happened with the corporate governance, and out of these I think we have learnt about Satyam scandal. Okay, Satyam scandal is one of it, where Lehman Brothers, this is the major scandal where the US market completely crashed and many jobs were not there, which in return affected the whole world in the job market also. Okay, so this Lehman Brothers is a global financial service firm. So they had not given out the loans. I mean, they actually took loan of 50 billion rupees, but then they did not say to the people that they have taken loan, but in return they told it is sales. Okay, now sales means you will get money to the company, right? So they told loan is not taken, this is sales, you can add it to the sales. But later when people had to pay back that loan, they didn't have cash. Okay, so who actually was involved in this? It was Lehman Brothers company, the company's executives and the auditors. Who were the auditors? E&Y. E&Y were the auditors for them way back. So they were involved in this. So they sold toxic assets of the Cayman Islands banks with the understanding that they would be bought back eventually. So that created an impression that Lehman had 50 billion more cash and 50 billion less in toxic assets, and that it really did. So they went bankrupt. When they were supposed to pay back this loan, they went bankrupt. Bankrupt means they did not have 1 rupee also to pay. Everything went off in this assets sale, and to pay the loan they didn't have cash at all. So that became the largest bankruptcy in US. The stock markets crashed. There were no enough evidences to say what actually happened. Okay, so all this was a big mess that happened, and many of them lost jobs, and that also hit Indian job market by that time, where many people lost job and they had to sit back, and then slowly other companies came up and it got back to normal after some time. So that was one of the biggest scandal that happened, Lehman Brothers 2008. And then Satyam scandal, we had admitted that he also had created fake bank accounts. He had created fake sales bills, saying that we have got so much of sales and all that. But when they asked, show me everything in your bank account, that is when Ramalinga Raju did not understand at all uh, what is happening and all that. So he just said, no, I did a big wrong. So I am agreeing everything. So you can take me into custody. So this happened in 2009. So if you see these times, there were lot of scandals that had taken place. Fine. So those are few things you have to understand. Now, moving further, corporate governance for board of directors. There are certain recommendations that is given to board of directors, which has to be implemented in the company. So listed companies in India will have to follow strict corporate governance rules. Now, few scandals, many times what happens is, if there is any scandal, it will turn into a political way. Now, why it is in the political way? Because the companies would have connections with one or the other politicians. There will be people from the regulatories who will be involved, who may be involved. We are not saying they compulsory they'll be there. Okay, so regulatories means from the officer side somebody would be involved. Okay, shareholders would not be informed about what is happening in the company, right? So like this, there will be people who will try to get things, and it will be difficult for them to uh, take care of it. So what is the recommendation here that they wanted to see is, whatever is the strict rules, please follow the rules. Okay, now if you want any information, you can always go to the professionals and get the information, rather than getting information who is half knowledge. Okay, you will get a lot of people with half knowledge, so better don't go to them. So corporate governance is how the companies are directed and controlled. So if you go to a professional, the professional will be able to say you what is good, what is bad, and guide you better. So you, in return, when you come back to the company and do the work, do it in a transparent way. Okay, when you do the work in a transparent way, then corporate governance is easy for us. The corporate governance are easy for us. It will